The court ordered my business partner to show their phone. They destroyed it. I watched through my office window as Marcus loaded boxes into his BMW, moving with the frantic energy of someone who knew their time was up. My hands shook as I held the court order, black ink on white paper that should have been his death sentence. Instead, he was about to make it mine. Digital Forensic Solutions was still pulled up on my laptop screen from my 3 a.m. research session. The cursor blinked mockingly in the phone number field while I calculated how much of my remaining credit I could burn through before everything collapsed. $37,000. That's what Marcus had stolen that I could prove so far, but my gut told me it was just the tip of the iceberg. 5 years. 5 fucking years I trusted him with everything. When we started Meridian Marketing Solutions, we were two broke 27-year-olds with a shared dream and a maxed-out credit card. I handled the creative side, campaigns, branding, client relationships. Marcus managed operations, finances, and what I stupidly believed was our mutual success. The first red flag should have been the Hartley Group contract. Our biggest client, worth $180,000 annually, and Marcus had insisted on handling all communications directly. You focus on the creative, Sam. I've got the business side locked down. I was so buried in campaign deadlines that I barely questioned why their payments started coming in smaller chunks, or why Marcus suddenly had enough cash to lease that BMW. It wasn't until 3 weeks ago that Rebecca Hartley called me directly. Sam, we need to discuss the additional services Marcus proposed. The ones that aren't going through Meridian's books. My stomach had dropped into my shoes. What additional services? The social media management and web maintenance. Marcus said you'd agreed to handle those under a separate contract through his consulting LLC. We've been paying him directly since January. January. 8 months of side payments I knew nothing about. 8 months of Marcus smiling at our partnership meetings while he picked our biggest client clean. The confrontation happened that same afternoon. Marcus sat across from me in our conference room, that same easy smile that had convinced me to go into business with him. When I laid out what I discovered, something shifted behind his eyes. It's not what you think, Sam. I was going to tell you. Tell me what? That you've been stealing from our company? From me? It's more complicated than that. The client wanted additional work, and I thought. You thought you'd cut me out of my own business. That's when he stopped pretending. The mask slipped completely, revealing someone I didn't recognize. Your business. I've been carrying this partnership for years while you played artist. Those clients trust me, not some creative type who can't balance a checkbook. I'd recorded every word. Now, 48 hours later, I was watching him clean out his office ahead of tomorrow's emergency hearing. Judge Martinez had been crystal clear. Marcus was to surrender his phone, laptop, and all business records by 9 a.m. Thursday. The device contained months of text messages with clients, bank records, emails that would expose the full scope of his theft. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. You got what you wanted, Sam. But good luck proving anything without evidence. I ran to the window. Marcus stood beside his car, phone raised toward my office in a mock salute. Then he dropped it on the concrete and brought his foot down hard. Once, twice, 3 times until the screen was a spider web of broken glass and exposed circuits. He looked up at my window and grinned. I screenshot the text message and called my lawyer. He what? Sarah Chen's voice crackled through my phone, sharp enough to cut glass. My lawyer had been handling partnership disputes for 15 years, but I could hear genuine shock in her tone. Smashed it to pieces in our parking lot. Sent me a text first, like he wanted me to watch. I paced the length of my office, stepping over the boxes Marcus had left behind, empty picture frames, a stress ball shaped like a dollar sign, the coffee mug I bought him last Christmas that read, "World's Most Trusted Partner." The irony was suffocating. Sam, listen to me very carefully. This changes everything. Destruction of evidence under court order isn't just contempt, it's criminal obstruction. We're talking potential felony charges. But what good does that do me if I can't prove what was on the phone in the first place? Sarah was quiet for a moment. I could hear her typing. You said you've been working with a forensic accountant. David Kim from Precision Audit. He's been tracing the financial trail for 2 weeks, but Marcus covered his tracks pretty well. We've got the Hartley Group payments, but David suspects there are at least 3 other clients being double billed. Get Kim on a 3-way call. Now. While Sarah patched David in, I stared at the screenshot of Marcus's text. The timestamp showed 4:47 p.m., exactly 13 minutes after he'd received the court order via certified mail. I'd watched him sign for it through my window, seen his face go white as he read Judge Martinez's directive. David, what do we have without the phone records? Sarah's voice was all business now. More than Marcus probably realizes, David's gravelly voice filled the silence. I've been running parallel investigations through the client's financial records. Hartley Group isn't the only one. Morrison Tech has been paying him directly for premium consulting services since March. Blackstone Development shows payments to his LLC going back 6 months. My legs gave out. I sank into my desk chair, calculating rapidly. How much total? Conservative estimate. North of $200,000. The number hit like a physical blow. Our entire company's annual revenue was barely $400,000. Marcus hadn't just been stealing, he'd been systematically dismantling everything we'd built. There's something else, David continued. I pulled the bank records for his LLC this morning. He made a $15,000 cash withdrawal yesterday. And he booked a one-way ticket to Costa Rica. Son of a bitch is running. Sarah's professional composure cracked slightly. When's the flight? Friday morning. Day after tomorrow. I felt the walls closing in. 24 hours. That's how long I had to expose 5 years of systematic theft before Marcus disappeared to a country with no extradition treaty. The phone destruction wasn't just destroying evidence, it was buying him time for a clean escape. Can we get an emergency injunction? Freeze his accounts. Something. My voice sounded desperate even to me. Already drafting it, Sarah said. But judges hate last-minute travel restrictions without ironclad evidence. David, how solid is your financial trail? Solid enough to show pattern and intent, but the communications evidence would have sealed it. Those text messages, emails, phone calls, that's what would have shown premeditation and conspiracy. I closed my eyes, seeing Marcus's satisfied grin as he ground his phone under his heel. He'd calculated this perfectly. Destroy the smoking gun, flee the country, leave me holding the wreckage of our partnership with just enough evidence to know I've been betrayed but not enough to do anything about it. There's got to be something, I whispered. Some way to recover what was on that phone. David cleared his throat. Actually, there might be. The phone itself might be destroyed, but data has a way of living forever if you know where to look, David continued. I've got a contact at Digital Forensic Solutions, Elena Rodriguez. She specializes in corporate fraud cases. My heart jumped. The same company I've been researching at 3 a.m. Can she recover data from a smashed phone? Maybe, but that's thinking too small. Sam, when did you say Marcus started the side deals with Hartley? January, according to Rebecca. And Morrison Tech was March, Blackstone was 6 months back. That's a lot of coordination over a long period. He didn't just wake up one day and decide to steal from you, this was planned. Methodical. Sarah jumped in. David's right. This level of systematic theft requires communication with multiple parties. Bank coordination, client manipulation, document falsification. There's no way Marcus did all of this through one device. I don't follow. But even as I said it, pieces were starting to click into place in my mind. Cloud backups, David explained. iCloud, Google Drive, Dropbox. Most people have automatic sync enabled and never think about it. If Marcus was using email, messaging apps, document sharing. It's all backed up somewhere, I finished, feeling the first spark of hope in days. Exactly. Plus, if he was running a parallel business through his LLC, he needed to maintain professional communications. Business email accounts, CRM systems, client portals. Elena can trace digital footprints across multiple platforms. I pulled up Marcus's LinkedIn profile on my computer. The photo showed him in a crisp navy suit, standing in front of our office logo with that $1 million smile. Under skills, he'd listed digital marketing strategy and client relations management. He's been posting about new clients for months, I said, scrolling through his activity. Look at this, March 15th, he shared an article about maximizing client value through strategic partnerships. Tagged Morrison Tech in the comments. Screenshot everything, Sarah ordered. Elena will want to see his entire digital presence. Social media often connects to other platforms automatically. My phone buzzed with another text from Marcus's number, or what was left of it. The message came through as green instead of blue, meaning he was using a different device now. Hope you enjoyed the show. See you in court tomorrow. Oh wait, what evidence? Face with tears of joy. Cocky bastard just made another mistake, Sarah said when I read her the message. He's texting from a secondary device, which means he's got backup communication methods. Elena can trace the message routing, identify the device, potentially access linked accounts. I saved the screenshot and noticed something I'd missed before. The message thread with Marcus went back months, but the earlier messages had small timestamps that read with specific times. iMessage read receipts. Sarah, if I've got months of text conversations with Marcus on my phone, and his phone was syncing to iCloud. His messages to you might still exist in his backup, even if the physical device is destroyed, she finished. You're thinking like a prosecutor now. I scrolled back through our message history. January 18th, Hartley meeting went great. Discussing expansion opportunities. February 3rd, need to restructure some client contracts for tax efficiency. March 22nd, Morrison project requires additional consulting framework. Every message was a breadcrumb. Every lie was documented. I'm calling Elena Rodriguez right now, I said, already dialing. If Marcus thinks destroying one phone erased 5 years of systematic theft, he's about to learn how the digital age really works. Sam, David's voice carried a warning. There's something else. That $15,000 cash withdrawal. It posted this morning. He's liquidating fast. 23 hours and counting. Elena Rodriguez answered on the second ring, her voice crisp and professional despite it being nearly 6 p.m. Digital Forensic Solutions, this is Elena. Ms. Rodriguez, my name is Sam Mitchell. David Kim from Precision Audit referred me. I need help recovering evidence from a destroyed device, and I need it fast. How fast are we talking? Court hearing tomorrow morning. Subject is fleeing the country Friday. I heard her sharp intake of breath. That's not much time. Tell me what happened. I gave her the abbreviated version, the embezzlement, the court order, Marcus destroying his phone in the parking lot. With each detail, I could hear her typing rapidly in the background. You said he sent you a text after destroying the device. 2 texts, actually. Both came through after I watched him smash the phone. That's interesting. Can you read me the exact message content and timestamps? I pulled up the screenshots. First one at 4:47 p.m., you got what you wanted, Sam. But good luck proving anything without evidence. Second one at 5:23 p.m., hope you enjoyed the show. See you in court tomorrow. Oh wait, what evidence, with a laughing emoji. Elena was quiet for a moment. Mr. Mitchell, your partner made a critical error. Those messages came from somewhere, and modern phones don't work in isolation. When was the last time you were physically in the same location as his primary device? This morning, around 9 a.m. We were both in the office before he started packing. Perfect. I need you to check your iPhone's recent AirDrop activity and Bluetooth connections. Settings, General, AirDrop, then Settings, Bluetooth, look for recently connected devices. I navigated through the menus, my hands trembling slightly. I see Marcus iPhone 14 in my Bluetooth history, last connected at 9:17 a.m. today. AirDrop shows, wait, this is weird. It shows he shared a photo with me at 9:15 a.m., but I never received any photo. He probably canceled the transfer, but the connection handshake was logged. That confirms his device was actively syncing with iCloud as of this morning. What's his Apple ID? Marcus.hayes.meridian@gmail.com. He set it up when we started the business. More rapid typing. I'm running a preliminary trace now. His destroyed device was definitely backing up to iCloud. Last backup shows 2:47 p.m. today, just 2 hours before he smashed it. My heart raced. Can you access the backup? Not without proper authorization, but here's what I can tell you immediately. That backup contains 847 text messages, 12,000 emails, and 2,300 photos from the last 30 days alone. Plus app data from WhatsApp, Telegram, and something called Signal. Signal. My blood ran cold. He never mentioned using Signal. Encrypted messaging app. Popular with people who want to hide communications. But here's the thing about encryption, it only works if you don't back up your keys to the cloud. I could barely contain my excitement. How do we get court authorization to access the backup? Already working on it. I've got a standing relationship with Judge Martinez's clerk. Emergency digital evidence preservation order should be ready within the hour. But there's a problem. My stomach dropped. What kind of problem? Cloud backups can be deleted remotely. If your partner realizes his phone was syncing when he destroyed it, he could wipe the backup from any other device logged into his Apple ID. Laptop, iPad, even a friend's phone. How long would that take? Minutes. And once it's gone forever. I began pacing again, mind racing through possibilities. He's at his apartment now, probably packing. He's not tech savvy, I always handled our digital marketing. He might not even realize the backup exists. Don't count on that. You said he booked a flight to Costa Rica. Someone advised him on asset protection and evidence destruction. He's got help. The implications hit me like a freight train. Marcus wasn't just stealing, he was part of something larger. Someone with legal knowledge had coached him through this process. Elena, those other clients David mentioned, Morrison Tech, Blackstone Development. What if Marcus isn't the mastermind? What if he's just one piece of a bigger fraud operation? Now you're thinking like a forensic investigator. I've seen this pattern before. Small business partners recruited to skim from their own companies, thinking they're getting away with petty theft while someone else orchestrates a much larger scheme. My phone buzzed with another text from Marcus's mystery device. You always were too trusting, Sam. Some lessons cost more than others. The message felt different this time. More calculated. Less like Marcus's usual cocky attitude and more like a threat. Elena, I think we're running out of time faster than we thought. Elena, can you track where those messages are coming from? I asked, screenshot saving Marcus's latest threat while my hands shook with a mixture of rage and fear. Already on it. Give me 30 seconds. I could hear her fingers flying across a keyboard. Interesting. The messages are routing through a VPN server in Panama, but the device signature shows an iPad Pro registered to. She paused. This doesn't make sense. It's registered to someone named Catherine Hayes Morrison. My blood turned to ice. Morrison. As in Morrison Tech. You know them. They're one of the clients Marcus has been double billing. But Hayes Morrison, that's got to be his sister Catherine. She's a corporate lawyer in Denver. The pieces clicked together with sickening clarity. Elena, what if his own sister has been helping him plan this? That would explain the sophisticated legal strategy. Destroying evidence, asset liquidation, fleeing to a non-extradition country, this isn't amateur hour. Elena's voice carried a new urgency. Sam, I need to ask you something important. In all your years working with Marcus, did he ever mention other business partnerships? Side ventures? Consulting work outside your company? I closed my eyes, forcing myself to think past the immediate crisis. Actually, yes. About 18 months ago, he started talking about expanding our professional network. Said he'd been invited to join some kind of business development group, successful entrepreneurs sharing resources and opportunities. Did you meet any of these people? A few times. There was a dinner last fall, maybe 8 or 9 people. I remember thinking it was weird how they all seemed to know each other already, like I was the outsider being introduced to an existing group. I grabbed a pen and started scribbling names as they came back to me. Catherine was there, obviously. A guy named Robert Morrison, probably related to Morrison Tech, someone from Blackstone Development, I think her name was Jennifer. Elena's typing intensified. Sam, you just described a criminal conspiracy. These aren't coincidences, Morrison Tech, Blackstone Development, and your sister-in-law Catherine all in one business development group. They've been coordinating this theft across multiple companies. My office suddenly felt claustrophobic. I walked to the window and stared down at the parking lot where Marcus had destroyed his phone 3 hours ago. Tiny fragments of glass still glittered on the concrete under the security lights. How much money are we talking about if this is bigger than just my company? If they're running the same scheme across multiple businesses? Potentially millions. And Sam. Elena's voice dropped. If I'm right about this being organized fraud, your partner destroying that phone wasn't panic, it was protocol. They've got exit strategies planned for when things go wrong. My phone rang. Sarah Chen. Sam, we've got a problem. I just heard from Judge Martinez's clerk. Someone filed a motion to dismiss the entire case, claiming you're making false accusations against Marcus due to partnership disputes and financial jealousy. The motion was filed by Hayes and Associates. Catherine Hayes. You know her. She's Marcus's sister. Elena thinks she's been helping orchestrate this whole thing. Sarah was quiet for a moment. This just became a much bigger case. If we're dealing with coordinated fraud involving an attorney, the stakes just jumped from civil partnership dispute to federal conspiracy charges. I'm calling the FBI white-collar crime unit. Through my window, I watched a black SUV pull into the parking lot. 3 people got out, Marcus, a woman in a business suit who looked exactly like an older version of Marcus, and a man in an expensive overcoat. Elena, they're here. Marcus just showed up with 2 people, one of them looks like his sister. Are they coming to your office? No, they're collecting something from his car. Wait. I grabbed my desk lamp and angled it to reduce the glare on the window. The woman is holding what looks like a laptop bag. The man has a box of files. They're sanitizing any remaining evidence from his workspace. Sam, you need to get out of there. Now. What do you mean? If they know you've been watching, if they realize how much you figured out. Elena's voice carried genuine concern. These people have planned an elaborate fraud scheme and coordinated evidence destruction. Someone who's willing to steal hundreds of thousands of dollars and flee the country might be willing to do other things to protect themselves. As if summoned by her words, Marcus looked up at my office window. Even from 3 stories up, I could see his expression clearly under the parking lot lights. He wasn't smiling anymore. Catherine pulled out her phone and started dialing while pointing up at my window. Elena, I whispered, I think you're right about needing to leave. I grabbed my laptop and the stack of financial documents David had compiled, stuffing everything into my messenger bag while keeping one eye on the parking lot. Catherine had finished her call and was now walking toward the building's main entrance with purposeful strides. The man in the overcoat stayed with Marcus, but I could see them both looking up at my window. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Sam, we need to talk. Come downstairs. Catherine. Elena, Marcus's sister just texted me. She wants me to come down to the parking lot. Absolutely not. Is there another way out of your building? I mentally mapped the office layout. Service elevator to the loading dock. But my car is in the front lot, right where they're standing. Forget your car. I'm sending someone to pick you up at the loading dock in 10 minutes. Black Honda Civic, license plate DFS 247. Through my window, I watched Catherine swipe a key card at the building's front entrance. How the hell did she have access to our building? She's inside, I whispered, grabbing the last of the essential documents. Elena, she has a key card to get in. That suggests this has been planned for much longer than we thought. Sam, I need you to listen very carefully. While you're getting out, I'm going to try something risky. If Marcus's iCloud backup is still active, I might be able to trigger a remote data preservation before they think to wipe it. I could hear the elevator climbing toward the 3rd floor. The old building's mechanical systems were loud enough to track. How? His phone tried to complete an airdrop transfer to your device this morning, remember? That created a temporary authentication token between your devices. If his backup is still syncing and I can spoof the handshake protocol. She trailed off into technical muttering. The elevator dinged on the 3rd floor. I killed the lights in my office and grabbed my jacket, moving toward the back stairwell as quietly as possible. Elena, what are the chances this actually works? Honestly? Maybe 30%. But if it does work, we'll have everything: text messages, emails, photos, app data, maybe even deleted files from his trash folder. Footsteps echoed in the hallway outside my office. High heels clicking against tile with military precision. Catherine knocked on my door, 3 sharp raps. Sam. I know you're in there. We need to discuss this situation like adults. I pressed myself against the stairwell door, barely breathing. Through the small window, I could see Catherine trying my office door handle. When it didn't open, she pulled out her phone. My phone immediately lit up with another text: running away won't help you. We have documentation showing you've been embezzling from Meridian and trying to frame Marcus. Come out now and we can resolve this quietly. The audacity was breathtaking. They were trying to flip the entire narrative, make me the criminal. I made it down 2 flights of stairs before I heard the stairwell door above me open with a metallic bang. Catherine's voice echoed down the stairwell. Sam, you're making this much worse for yourself. Elena, I whispered into my phone while taking the stairs 3 at a time, please tell me your plan is working. Still running the authentication sequence. Wait, I'm getting data packets. Sam, it's working. His backup is downloading right now, 2.3 gigabytes and counting. I reached the loading dock level, my heart hammering against my ribs. Through the small window in the service door, I could see headlights in the alley. A black Honda Civic sat idling with its passenger door already open. How long do you need? I asked, my hand on the door handle. Maybe 3 more minutes for the core message data, but Sam, I'm seeing things that don't make sense. Bank routing numbers for accounts in the Cayman Islands. Phone numbers with international prefixes. And photos, lots of photos of legal documents. I pushed through the service door and ran toward the Honda. The driver was a woman in her 40s with short gray hair and the focused demeanor of someone who'd done extractions before. Elena Rodriguez sent me. Get in. As I dove into the passenger seat, I heard Catherine's voice echo from the loading dock behind us. This is obstruction of justice, Sam. You're only making the criminal charges worse. We pulled out of the alley as Catherine emerged from the building, her phone already pressed to her ear. Elena, I said as we merged into downtown traffic, please tell me you got everything. Better than everything. Sam, your partner wasn't just stealing from you. Based on what I'm seeing in these files, Marcus was documenting his own crimes. Photos of forged contracts, screenshots of illegal wire transfers, even voice memos where he discusses the fraud with other people. I slumped back in the seat, overwhelmed by the magnitude of what we'd uncovered. Why would he keep evidence of his own crimes? Insurance policy, most likely. If this conspiracy went bad, he'd need leverage against the other participants. Elena's voice carried a mixture of excitement and grim satisfaction. Sam, destroying that phone wasn't just contempt of court, it was the mistake that's going to bring down their entire operation. The Honda turned onto the highway, putting distance between me and whatever Catherine was planning back at the office. For the first time in weeks, I felt like we might actually win this fight. But something Elena had said nagged at me. Marcus had been documenting everything, keeping insurance against his co-conspirators. Which meant he'd always known this partnership was going to end badly. The Honda pulled into a 24-hour diner parking lot 15 miles from downtown. Elena's driver, who'd introduced herself only as Kate, killed the engine and handed me a burner phone. Elena wants you to call her on this. More secure than your regular line. I dialed the number she'd written on a slip of paper, my hand still shaking from the adrenaline rush of escaping the office. Elena answered immediately. Sam, are you somewhere safe? I think so. What did you find in Marcus's backup? More than we bargained for. I've been combing through the data for the last hour, and this conspiracy goes back almost 3 years. But there's a problem, a big one. My stomach clenched. What kind of problem? The voice memos I mentioned. I've been listening to them. Sam, they've been planning to frame you from the beginning. This wasn't just about stealing money, they needed a fall guy for when the scheme collapsed. I stared through the diner's neon-lit windows at families eating late dinners, their normal lives suddenly seeming like something from another planet. What do you mean, frame me? There are recordings of Marcus and Catherine discussing how to make it look like you were the one embezzling. Forged email accounts in your name, fabricated contracts with your digital signature, even fake bank records showing deposits into accounts they set up using your identity. The diner's parking lot began to spin around me. That's impossible. I never opened any accounts. Identity theft, Sam. They've got your social security number, copies of your driver's license, even what looks like a forged power of attorney document giving Marcus access to financial accounts in your name. Elena's voice was grim. That motion to dismiss that Catherine filed. It's not just claiming you're making false accusations. They're preparing to file criminal charges against you for embezzling from your own company. Kate, who'd been listening silently, leaned over. How long before they can execute that plan? Based on what I'm seeing, they were planning to file charges against Sam next week, after Marcus was safely in Costa Rica. But now that we've got the evidence. Elena paused. They're going to accelerate everything. Sam, you said Catherine called this criminal charges when you were leaving the office? Yeah, she kept yelling about obstruction of justice and making criminal charges worse. She wasn't threatening future charges. She's already filed them. I need to call Sarah Chen immediately. My burner phone rang before I could respond. Sarah's name appeared on the small screen. Sam, where the hell are you? There's a warrant out for your arrest. What? The word came out as a croak. Catherine Hayes filed an emergency complaint 2 hours ago with the district attorney's office. She's claiming you've been systematically embezzling from Meridian Marketing for over a year, and that you tried to frame Marcus when he discovered the theft. She's got bank records, forged contracts, even witness statements from Morrison Tech and Blackstone Development claiming you approached them about illegal side payments. Kate started the Honda's engine without being asked. Where do we go? She mouthed to me. I covered the burner phone. Elena, can you conference Sarah in? We need to coordinate. Already doing it. Sarah, this is Elena Rodriguez. I've got digital evidence that proves the bank records Catherine provided are fabricated. How can you be sure? Because I'm looking at Marcus's voice memos where he and Catherine discuss creating them. Timestamps, account numbers, even the specific software they used to forge Sam's digital signatures. But here's the critical issue, if there's already a warrant issued, local police will be looking for Sam within the hour. Through the diner windows, I watched a family with 2 young kids sharing a chocolate cake. The normalcy felt surreal while I sat in a parking lot, officially a fugitive from charges I didn't even understand. How is this legal? I asked. How can they file criminal charges based on evidence they fabricated? Sarah's voice was tight with anger. Because Catherine is a licensed attorney with 15 years of experience, and she presented what appeared to be legitimate financial documents to the DA's office during an emergency session. The magistrate judge issued the warrant based on her sworn affidavit. But if Elena has proof it's all fabricated, we need time to analyze the evidence and prepare a counterfiling. Time we don't have if you're arrested tonight. Sarah paused. Sam, I need to ask you something, and I need you to be completely honest. Is there any possibility, any at all, that Marcus was telling the truth about some kind of financial irregularities on your end? The question hit like a physical blow. Sarah, you think I think we're dealing with sophisticated criminals who've spent years planning this frame job. But if there's anything in your financial history that could be twisted or misinterpreted, I need to know now. I closed my eyes, forcing myself to think clearly despite the chaos. The only thing I can think of is, last year, when we were cash flow tight, I delayed paying myself salary for 3 months and then took it as a lump sum in December. For tax purposes. Elena jumped in. What kind of documentation do you have for that decision? Email discussions with our accountant, board meeting minutes where Marcus and I both agreed to defer founder salaries until the Hartley contract came through. Sam, Elena's voice carried new urgency, do you still have access to those emails? They should be in my company Gmail account, why? Because if Marcus has been planning this for years, he might have deleted or altered those emails to make your salary deferral look like embezzlement. Kate turned in the driver's seat. We need to move. Police car just pulled into the McDonald's across the street, and he's looking this direction. My phone buzzed with a text from Marcus's device, turn yourself in, Sam. We've got evidence of everything. This can be easy or hard, your choice. I showed the message to Elena over video call. Her expression darkened. They're tracking your phone. Turn off your regular phone. Now. Elena's voice cut through my panic like a knife. If they're tracking you, they've either cloned your device or they're using cell tower triangulation through law enforcement channels. I powered down my iPhone with shaking hands while Kate pulled out of the diner parking lot, taking a random series of turns through residential neighborhoods. The police car across the street hadn't moved, but I couldn't shake the feeling that we were being hunted. Elena, how is it possible they got law enforcement to track my phone this fast? Catherine's not just any lawyer, I did some quick research while you were driving. She specializes in white-collar crime prosecution and has contacts throughout the DA's office. If she convinced them you're a flight risk with access to embezzled funds, they'd treat me like a dangerous fugitive, I finished, the reality sinking in. Just like Marcus was supposed to be. Kate glanced in the rearview mirror. We've got company. Black SUV, 3 cars back, matching our turns for the last 5 minutes. My blood turned to ice. Through the back window, I could make out the same vehicle that had been in my office parking lot. That's them. Marcus and Catherine. Elena's voice crackled through the burner phone speaker. Kate, you know the protocols. Sam, listen carefully, we're going to have to split up. Kate's going to take you somewhere safe while I work on getting this warrant dismissed. How long will that take? If I can get an emergency hearing with Judge Martinez tomorrow morning, maybe 6 hours. But Sam, there's something else in Marcus's files I need to tell you about. Kate took a hard right into a shopping center, weaving between late-night shoppers and delivery trucks. The black SUV fell back but didn't disappear entirely. What did you find? Bank records from the Cayman Islands account. It's not just the money Marcus stole from you, they've been running this same scam against at least 12 other small businesses over the past 3 years. Always the same pattern: infiltrate the partnership, systematically steal clients and funds, then frame the legitimate partner when the scheme gets too big to hide. The scope of it staggered me. How much total? Conservative estimate: $2.8 million. Sam, you're not just fighting for your business, you stumbled into the middle of a massive organized fraud ring. Kate pulled behind a 24-hour Walmart and killed the headlights. They drove past. We've got maybe 10 minutes before they circle back. Elena, if this is organized crime, why are we handling it ourselves? Shouldn't the FBI be taking over? Already contacted. Agent Jennifer Walsh from the White Collar Crime Unit is reviewing the evidence now, but federal cases take time to build. The local warrant is still active until we can prove it's based on fabricated evidence. Through Walmart's parking lot, I watched normal people buying groceries and household supplies, completely unaware that 3 cars away sat a fugitive from crimes he didn't commit. The surreal nature of the situation was almost overwhelming. There's something else, Elena continued. Those voice memos from Marcus. In one of them, he mentions the Seattle job and the Portland situation. I think there might be active schemes running right now in other cities. Kate started the engine again. Safe house is 15 minutes from here. Sam, once you're secured, Elena and I need to coordinate with federal authorities. Wait, I said, a terrible thought occurring to me. Elena, when Marcus destroyed his phone, he did it right in front of me. Like he wanted me to see. Yeah, you mentioned that. Classic intimidation tactic. No, that's not it. What if? I struggled to put the pieces together. What if he wanted me to think the evidence was destroyed? What if the real evidence, the stuff that incriminates Catherine and the others, was never on that phone in the first place? Elena was quiet for a long moment. You think he destroyed a burner device while keeping the real evidence somewhere else? It would explain why he was so confident, why Catherine showed up so quickly with criminal charges ready to file. They weren't panicking about evidence destruction, they were executing the final phase of the frame job. Kate turned onto a darkened residential street. If that's true, then Marcus still has leverage against his co-conspirators. Which means he's not running to Costa Rica to escape, I realized. He's running because someone in this conspiracy is about to eliminate loose ends. My burner phone rang. Unknown number. Sam. The voice was Marcus, but he sounded terrified. Sam, don't hang up. I need help. The line crackled with static, but Marcus's voice came through clear enough for me to hear the desperation. This wasn't the cocky bastard who destroyed his phone 6 hours ago, this was someone who sounded genuinely afraid. Marcus, you've got some fucking nerve calling me after. They're going to kill me, Sam. His words tumbled out in a rush. Catherine, Robert Morrison, the whole group. I was supposed to be on that Costa Rica flight, but they moved it up. They want me gone tonight. Kate had pulled into the driveway of a modest ranch house in what looked like a middle-class suburb. She held up her hand, signaling me to keep talking while she listened. Why would I believe anything you say? I asked, though something in his voice made my stomach clench with unease. Because I've got the real evidence. Everything. The Phoenix operation, the Denver scheme, all 12 businesses they've hit over 3 years. I kept copies of everything as insurance, and now they know it. Elena's voice cut through the speaker. Marcus, this is Elena Rodriguez, Digital Forensics. If you've got evidence of a larger conspiracy, why frame Sam instead of turning it over to authorities? Because they told me Sam was in on it. Marcus's voice cracked. Catherine showed me bank records, email chains, meeting notes that made it look like Sam was the one running the whole operation. She said Sam had been using me as a front man while he coordinated with organized crime figures in other states. My head spun trying to process this. That's impossible. I know that now. About 2 hours ago, Catherine called me to a meeting at Morrison Tech's offices. She had 3 guys with her I'd never seen before, expensive suits, Boston accents, the kind of people who make threats without raising their voices. Kate killed the engine in motion for me to follow her toward the house, keeping the phone connection active. What kind of threats? Elena asked. They said the frame job on Sam was taking too long, that federal attention was heating up, and they needed to consolidate loose ends. Catherine had papers for me to sign, something about transferring full ownership of the stolen assets to a shell company in exchange for my safe passage to Costa Rica. I followed Kate through the front door into a living room that looked like a safe house from a spy movie, minimal furniture, blackout curtains, multiple phone lines, and computer equipment that definitely wasn't consumer grade. But you didn't sign, I said, settling into a chair while Kate immediately began setting up some kind of secure communication system. I started to, but then I saw the transfer documents. Sam, they weren't just stealing the money, they were washing it through a network of fake businesses across 8 states. The amounts were staggering. Your $200,000 was like petty cash compared to the overall operation. Elena's fingers were flying across her keyboard. Marcus, where are you right now? Hiding in a storage unit in Aurora. I've got laptop bags full of documents, hard drives, even audio recordings of Catherine coordinating with people in Boston and Miami. But I can't go to the police, there's a warrant out for my arrest too. What? I nearly dropped the burner phone. Since when? Since about an hour after you disappeared from your office. Catherine filed charges against both of us, she's claiming we were partners in the embezzlement scheme and that we're both flight risks. Kate looked up from her computer setup. Elena, are you seeing this? Federal databases show active warrants for both Sam Mitchell and Marcus Hayes as of 9:47 p.m. tonight. The room felt like it was spinning. So we're both fugitives now. It's a cleanup operation, Elena said grimly. Catherine's cutting ties with anyone who can expose the larger conspiracy. Marcus, what exactly do you have in those storage unit files? Wire transfer records showing money flowing to organized crime figures in Boston. Meeting transcripts where Catherine discusses eliminating complications from the Seattle and Portland jobs. And Sam. His voice dropped to almost a whisper. Photos of what happened to the business owners in Phoenix and Denver who tried to fight back. My blood ran cold. What do you mean, what happened to them? The Phoenix guy, Tom Chen, ran a marketing consultancy like ours. They found him beaten unconscious in his office after he threatened to go to the FBI. The Denver woman, Sarah Martinez, ended up in the hospital with a gas leak explosion at her home the night before she was supposed to testify. Elena and Kate exchanged a look that made my stomach drop into my shoes. Marcus, Elena said carefully, are you saying this isn't just financial fraud? Are you saying they're willing to use violence? I'm saying those 3 guys with Boston accents who showed up at tonight's meeting weren't lawyers or accountants. And when I refused to sign the transfer papers, one of them said they had alternative methods for resolving partnership disputes. The burner phone beeped with an incoming call. Kate glanced at the display and her face went white. Elena, we've got a problem. That's the emergency contact number for the Portland operation. Answer it, Marcus said urgently. If it's who I think it is, we're all in immediate danger. Kate answered the call on speaker, her expression tense as a gravelly voice filled the room. This is Detective Ray Kowalski, Portland PD. I'm looking for Elena Rodriguez and anyone connected to the Meridian marketing investigation. Elena leaned forward. This is Rodriguez. How did you get this number? FBI agent Walsh gave it to me 20 minutes ago. We've got a situation up here that connects to your case. Business owner named Patricia Vance runs a digital marketing firm called Pacific Northwest Creative. She contacted our fraud unit this afternoon claiming her business partner disappeared with $300,000 and left evidence suggesting she was the embezzler. My heart hammered against my ribs. The same pattern, playing out in real time. Detective, Marcus's voice crackled through my phone. What's Patricia Vance's partner's name? Michael Chen. Why? Elena was already typing frantically. Detective Kowalski, we believe Patricia Vance is about to be framed for crimes she didn't commit. Can you get a protective detail to her location immediately? Too late. Her office building caught fire about an hour ago. Electrical fault, according to the initial report, but the timing seems convenient. Ms. Vance was working late. She's in the hospital with smoke inhalation. Kate grabbed a secure landline and started dialing rapidly. Elena, they're accelerating everything. If Portland is active right now. Detective, I interrupted, is Michael Chen still in Portland? That's the thing, his flight to Mexico City left 3 hours ago. But we found something interesting in the building after the fire department cleared it. Professional-grade surveillance equipment hidden in Ms. Vance's office walls. Someone's been monitoring her communications for months. Marcus's voice carried new urgency. Sam, they're not just stealing money. They're gathering intelligence on every target, recording conversations, building comprehensive profiles for character assassination. Elena pulled up what looked like a federal database. Detective Kowalski, I'm sending you encrypted files right now showing connections between your Portland case and at least 11 other similar schemes across multiple states. Patricia Vance needs federal protection, not just local fraud investigation. Hold on. Detective Kowalski's voice became muffled, like he was covering the phone. After 30 seconds, he came back. Agent Walsh just walked into my office. She wants to talk to all of you. A new voice came through the speaker, professional, clipped, with the unmistakable authority of federal law enforcement. This is Special Agent Jennifer Walsh, FBI Financial Crimes. Mr. Mitchell, Mr. Hayes, you're both persons of interest in a federal investigation, but based on the evidence Ms. Rodriguez provided, we believe you're victims, not perpetrators. Relief flooded through me so intensely I nearly collapsed. Agent Walsh, there are warrants out for our arrests. Those warrants are being withdrawn as we speak. Local prosecutors were provided fabricated evidence by Catherine Hayes and her associates. We've been tracking this organization for 8 months, but we needed the digital evidence from Marcus Hayes' phone to connect all the pieces. Marcus's voice shook. Agent Walsh, I've got hard drives full of additional evidence, but I'm scared Catherine's people are going to find me before. Mr. Hayes, what's your exact location? Aurora Self-Storage, Unit 247, on Havana Street. Kate was already moving toward a wall-mounted tactical gear cabinet. That's 15 minutes from here. Elena, are we extracting him? Agent Walsh's voice cut through before Elena could respond. Negative. FBI tactical team is already en route to that location. Mr. Hayes, stay inside the storage unit and do not open the door for anyone unless they provide federal identification and use the code word Meridian. Through the secure house's front windows, I could see unmarked vehicles pulling into the neighborhood, black SUVs with government plates and the subtle antenna configurations that screamed federal law enforcement. Agent Walsh, Elena said, what's the status on the other potential victims? If this organization is cleaning house. We're coordinating with field offices in Seattle, Phoenix, Denver, and Miami. As of 20 minutes ago, this became a multi-state organized crime investigation with potential RICO charges. My burner phone buzzed with a text from Catherine's number. Sam, you and Marcus have 1 hour to turn yourselves in before this becomes much worse for everyone involved. I showed the message to Kate, who immediately forwarded it to Agent Walsh. Perfect, Agent Walsh said with grim satisfaction. She just threatened federal witnesses in an ongoing investigation. Mr. Mitchell, Ms. Hayes Morrison's organization just made their biggest mistake yet. Agent Walsh's voice crackled through the secure line with new urgency. Mr. Mitchell, we just intercepted communications between Catherine Hayes and someone in Boston. They're planning to execute what they call Protocol 7 within the next 2 hours. My blood turned to ice. What's Protocol 7? We don't know yet, but based on the context, it involves eliminating all potential witnesses before federal arrests can be made. Mr. Hayes, are you still secure in that storage unit? Marcus's voice came through shaky but determined. Yeah, but I can hear vehicles outside. Multiple engines, car doors slamming. Agent Walsh, I don't think your tactical team is the only one heading this direction. Kate moved to a bank of monitors showing feeds from security cameras around the safe house. Elena, we've got movement on the perimeter. 2 vehicles, occupants unknown, parking 3 blocks out. Through my burner phone, I could hear Marcus breathing heavily. There's someone cutting the lock on the storage facility's main gate. Agent Walsh, where's your tactical team? ETA 4 minutes. Mr. Hayes, is there another way out of that unit? No, it's a dead end. But I've got the evidence secured in a fireproof safe, and I uploaded copies to a cloud server using the facility's Wi-Fi 20 minutes ago. Elena looked up from her laptop. Smart thinking. Marcus, what's the cloud account information? Dropbox account under the name Thomas Chen, that's the Phoenix guy who got beaten up. Seemed appropriate. Despite everything, Marcus managed a bitter laugh. Password is Meridian Evidence 2024, all one word. Agent Walsh's voice carried new authority. Ms. Rodriguez, can you access that account and verify the contents? Elena's fingers flew across her keyboard. Accessing now. Jesus Christ. Marcus, there are over 3,000 files in here. Bank records, voice recordings, photographs of legal documents, even what looks like surveillance footage. The surveillance footage is from Portland, Marcus explained, his voice dropping to a whisper. Michael Chen installed cameras in Patricia Vance's office 6 months ago. There's video of her working late, taking client calls, even personal conversations with her family. They've been building a psychological profile to use against her in court. Through the secure house's windows, I watched 2 FBI vehicles pull up with their lights dark but engines running. Agents in tactical gear emerged and took positions around the property. Agent Walsh, I said, how many people are we talking about in this organization? Conservative estimate. At least 40 active participants across 12 states, with connections to organized crime figures in Boston, Miami, and Las Vegas. Catherine Hayes isn't just a corrupt lawyer, she's coordinating a sophisticated criminal enterprise that's been operating for at least 5 years. Elena pulled up a file from Marcus's cloud account. Agent Walsh, I'm looking at what appears to be a master list of targets. Businesses, owner profiles, estimated asset values, there are over 200 companies on here. My stomach dropped. 200. Most are marked as assessed or declined, but 23 are flagged as active operations. Sam, your company was just one of 23 simultaneous schemes running right now. The scope was staggering. While I'd been focused on Marcus stealing $200,000 from our partnership, Catherine's organization had been systematically looting small businesses across the entire country. Marcus, Agent Walsh's voice carried new tension, we're showing at least 6 individuals approaching your location on foot. Can you confirm visual contact? I can see flashlight beams through the gap under the unit door. They're checking every storage unit systematically. His breathing was getting more rapid. Agent Walsh, if they get the physical documents, even if the cloud backup exists. The physical documents won't matter if we can arrest the entire network tonight. But Marcus, I need you to stay calm and stay hidden. Kate moved to the window, speaking quietly into a tactical radio. Elena, Federal Command is asking for real-time access to Marcus's cloud account. They want to coordinate arrests simultaneously across all active cities. Elena nodded, typing rapidly. Sharing access now. Agent Walsh, you should be seeing everything Marcus uploaded, financial records, recorded conversations, even emails discussing specific targets and timelines. My burner phone buzzed with another text from Catherine, last chance, Sam. Turn yourself in, or Patricia Vance won't be the only one dealing with unfortunate accidents tonight. I showed the message to Agent Walsh over video call. Her expression hardened. That's a direct threat against a federal witness. All units, we're moving to arrests immediately. This organization just escalated to domestic terrorism. Through Marcus's phone connection, we could hear muffled voices getting closer to his storage unit. Found something, a gravelly voice said. Unit 247, lock's been changed recently. Marcus whispered barely audibly, they're right outside. The sound of Marcus's storage unit door being pried open came through the burner phone like fingernails on a chalkboard. Agent Walsh's voice cut through the tension, all units, move now. Suspects are actively threatening a federal witness. They're inside, Marcus whispered, his voice barely audible. 3 men in tactical gear, but they're not FBI. One of them just said, where's the evidence, Hayes, in a Boston accent. Elena's fingers flew across her keyboard while she monitored the cloud account in real time. Marcus uploaded 847 new files in the last 10 minutes. Even if they get the physical documents, we have everything. Through the secure house windows, I watched FBI vehicles racing down residential streets with lights flashing. Kate spoke rapidly into her tactical radio, subjects are armed and have engaged federal witness at Aurora self-storage. Requesting immediate backup at safe house location. Armed? Agent Walsh's voice sharpened. Marcus, can you confirm weapons? A new voice came through Marcus's phone, cold, professional, with that distinctive Boston accent he'd mentioned. Mr. Hayes, you have exactly 30 seconds to tell us where you uploaded the files, or this conversation becomes very unpleasant. I don't know what you're talking about, Marcus replied, but I could hear the terror in his voice. Elena, I said urgently, can we call the police directly to that storage facility? FBI is handling it, but... Elena pulled up a tactical display showing GPS locations of all federal units. Closest FBI response is still 2 minutes out. A lot can happen in 2 minutes. Agent Walsh's voice carried new authority. Mr. Mitchell, we're moving you to a more secure location immediately. This organization has demonstrated they're willing to use violence, and your safe house location may be compromised. Kate was already packing essential equipment into tactical bags. Elena, we've got vehicles approaching from 2 directions. Government plates, but I don't recognize the occupants. Through Marcus's connection, we heard the sound of metal scraping against concrete, then his sharp intake of breath. They found the fireproof safe. But they can't open it without. The phone line went dead. Marcus? Marcus? I shouted into the burner phone, but got only silence. Elena's laptop chimed with a notification. He's still uploading files to the cloud account. Whatever's happening, his phone is still transmitting data. Agent Walsh's voice came through the secure line, we've lost audio contact with Mr. Hayes, but tactical teams are entering the storage facility now. Mr. Mitchell, Kate should be moving you to secondary location immediately. Kate grabbed my arm. We're leaving. Now. As we headed toward the back door, my burner phone rang with an unknown number. I answered without thinking. Sam. It was Patricia Vance from Portland, her voice hoarse from smoke inhalation. Detective Kowalski gave me this number. They're saying my business partner Michael Chen was working with the same people who targeted your company. Patricia, are you safe? We heard about the fire. I'm in federal protective custody now, but Sam, they didn't just steal money from me. I found surveillance equipment in my office walls, recording devices in my home, even GPS trackers on my car. They've been watching me for months, documenting my daily routines, my family's schedules. Kate pulled me toward a reinforced SUV parked behind the safe house. Sam, we need to move. Local police are reporting multiple armed individuals in the area. Elena followed with her laptop bag and multiple hard drives. Patricia, this is Elena Rodriguez. Did Michael Chen ever mention working with other business partners in different cities? Actually, yes. He bragged about being part of some kind of entrepreneurship network that helped ambitious people maximize opportunities across multiple markets. Said he'd learned the business model from successful operations in Phoenix and Denver. The pieces clicked together with sickening clarity. This wasn't just theft, it was a franchised criminal operation, with each city's scheme following the same playbook perfected through previous jobs. As Kate started the armored SUV, Agent Walsh's voice crackled through the radio. We've secured the storage facility. Mr. Hayes is alive but injured. Suspects fled before tactical arrival, but they left behind evidence that connects this organization to organized crime figures in 6 states. Relief flooded through me. How badly is Marcus hurt? Conscious and talking. And Mr. Mitchell, the fireproof safe they couldn't open. It contained original documents that prove this organization has been operating since 2019, with total stolen assets exceeding $12 million. As we pulled away from the safe house, Elena's laptop showed new activity in Marcus's cloud account. Agent Walsh, he's uploaded something new. It looks like audio recordings from tonight's confrontation. Perfect. Those recordings just gave us evidence of kidnapping, assault, and witness intimidation by an organized criminal enterprise. Patricia's voice came through my phone with new strength. Sam, how many other business owners are going through this right now? I looked at Elena's screen showing the master target list, 200 companies, 23 active operations. Too many, Patricia. But I think we're about to shut them all down. Agent Walsh's voice cut through the radio static as Kate navigated our armored SUV through Denver's industrial district. Mr. Mitchell, we've got a problem. The 3 men who attacked Marcus Hayes at the storage facility, they weren't just hired muscle. Facial recognition shows they're connected to the Torino crime family out of Boston. My blood ran cold. Organized crime. This is about more than just business fraud. Much more. The financial records Marcus uploaded show this operation has been washing money for East Coast crime families through fake small business acquisitions. Your stolen $200,000 wasn't theft, it was a down payment into a money laundering network worth over $50 million. Elena looked up from her laptop, her face pale in the dashboard lights. Agent Walsh, I'm seeing new activity across multiple cloud accounts. Someone's systematically deleting files from servers in Miami, Boston, and Las Vegas simultaneously. They're destroying evidence across the entire network. Patricia Vance's voice crackled through my burner phone from her hospital bed in Portland. Sam, about 30 minutes ago, FBI agents found Michael Chen's body in a hotel room near Mexico City Airport. The words hit like a physical blow. Dead? Apparent suicide, according to Mexican authorities. But Agent Walsh, the timing seems convenient. He died exactly when you raided the Denver storage facility. Kate turned onto a darkened highway heading toward the mountains. Elena, where are we taking him? FBI safe house in Boulder. But we've got 40 minutes of driving through areas with no cell coverage. Elena's fingers flew across her keyboard. I need to download as much evidence as possible before we lose internet access. Agent Walsh's voice carried new urgency. Mr. Mitchell, there's something else. That $15,000 cash withdrawal Marcus made yesterday. We traced it to a payment to someone called The Cleaner, a professional who specializes in eliminating digital evidence and sometimes witnesses. My hands started shaking uncontrollably. Are you saying they hired a professional killer? We're saying this organization has resources and connections we initially underestimated. Mr. Hayes is being moved to a federal medical facility under armed guard, and Ms. Vance is in protective custody until we can arrest the primary conspirators. Through the SUV's bulletproof windows, I watched Denver's city lights disappear behind us as we climbed into the Rockies. The isolation should have felt safe, but knowing that organized crime figures were hunting me made every shadow seem threatening. Elena's laptop chimed with multiple notifications. Agent Walsh, I'm seeing coordinated activity across the target list. Bank accounts being closed, business addresses being changed, even LinkedIn profiles being deleted. They're shutting down the entire operation. Or preparing for something bigger, Patricia said from Portland. Sam, before my office building caught fire, I found documents showing they were planning to expand into technology sector companies. The stolen money wasn't the end goal, it was funding for a much larger operation targeting software startups and tech firms. Kate glanced in the rearview mirror. We've got headlights following us. Same distance for the last 15 miles, matching our speed exactly. Agent Walsh's voice sharpened. Kate, you're entering a communication dead zone in approximately 12 minutes. There's a federal checkpoint at exit 247, can you reach it before losing radio contact? Elena frantically typed while watching her laptop signal strength indicators. Downloading the last of Marcus's files now. If we lose internet connection. She paused, staring at her screen. Wait. Agent Walsh, Marcus just uploaded something new. It's a video file, timestamp from 10 minutes ago. He's supposed to be in federal custody at the medical facility. According to the metadata, this video was recorded from his hospital room. Elena opened the file, and Marcus's bruised face appeared on her laptop screen. Sam, if you're seeing this, it means I'm probably dead. Marcus's voice continued through Elena's laptop speakers, barely audible over the sound of medical equipment beeping in the background. They moved me to what they said was a secure federal facility, but something's wrong. The nurses don't have FBI badges, and I overheard one of them speaking Russian on the phone. Kate pressed harder on the accelerator. The headlights behind us matched our increased speed exactly. Elena, how much of that video is left? 3 more minutes of footage. Elena adjusted the laptop screen so Agent Walsh could see through the video call. Agent Walsh, can you verify which federal medical facility Marcus is supposed to be at? Checking now. Agent Walsh's voice carried new tension. Mr. Mitchell, we have a serious problem. Marcus Hayes was never transported to a federal medical facility. Our tactical team reported he was treated by paramedics at the storage facility and released to local police custody. My stomach dropped. Then who has him? Marcus's recorded voice answered as if he'd heard my question. I think Catherine's people got me out of real FBI custody by posing as federal marshals. There's a briefcase handcuffed to one of the nurses, and I can see documents with the Torino family letterhead through the clear plastic cover. Elena paused the video. Agent Walsh, if organized crime figures have Marcus, and we're the only ones with access to his evidence. You're the primary targets now. Kate, abort the Boulder safe house route. They may have federal communications compromised. Agent Walsh's voice cut out momentarily with static. New destination, Cheyenne Mountain Complex. Military security, completely isolated from civilian law enforcement networks. Patricia's voice crackled through my burner phone. Sam, they just moved me again too. The FBI agent said there was a credible threat against the Portland safe house. Her voice dropped to a whisper. But I heard them arguing about whether certain people at the federal level could be trusted. The implications hit like a freight train. Agent Walsh, how deep does this corruption go? We're finding out in real time. The Torino organization has been operating in 12 states for 5 years. That requires significant protection from law enforcement, prosecutors, maybe even federal agents. Kate took an unexpected exit ramp, tires squealing slightly on the mountain curves. The headlights behind us continued straight on the highway. Lost our tail, but that means they either know where we're going, or they're tracking us some other way. Elena checked her laptop's wireless settings. All external connections are disabled. Unless. She pulled out my original iPhone, which I'd powered down hours ago. Sam, when did you last use banking apps, email, anything connected to your business accounts? This morning, checking our account balance before the court hearing. The memory felt like it was from another lifetime. If Marcus's people installed tracking software on business partners' devices months ago. Elena powered up my iPhone in airplane mode and connected it to an isolated diagnostic device. Agent Walsh, I'm finding suspicious background applications that aren't standard iOS. Someone's been monitoring Sam's communications, location data, even his camera and microphone. The video of Marcus resumed playing automatically. His voice was weaker now, but determined. Sam, the briefcase contains documents about something called Phase 3. From what I can see, stealing from small businesses was just the beginning. They're planning to target federal infrastructure contracts, using the money they've stolen to fund bid manipulation on government technology projects worth hundreds of millions. Kate's radio crackled with an emergency broadcast. All federal units, be advised, coordinated attacks on FBI field offices in Miami, Phoenix, and Boston reported in the last 30 minutes. Suspects armed with federal identification and appear to have inside knowledge of facility security. Agent Walsh's voice cut through the chaos. This isn't just money laundering, it's a coordinated assault on federal law enforcement. Mr. Mitchell, the evidence you and Marcus uncovered didn't just expose a criminal organization. You exposed a conspiracy to infiltrate and compromise federal agencies from the inside. Elena's laptop showed Marcus uploading one final file to the cloud account. The file name made my blood freeze, Catherine_FBI_payroll_evidence.mp4. Agent Walsh, I said, my voice barely steady, I think we just found out how they've been staying ahead of federal investigations. The video file Elena opened made my hands shake so violently I nearly dropped the burner phone. On her laptop screen, Marcus sat in what looked like a legitimate hospital room, but he was holding up documents toward the camera with trembling fingers. Sam, these are FBI payroll records showing Catherine has been paying Agent Jennifer Walsh $15,000 monthly for the past 18 months. She's not investigating the conspiracy, she's been protecting it. Kate slammed on the brakes so hard our armored SUV skidded sideways on the mountain highway. Elena, kill that video call with Walsh. Now. But it was too late. Agent Walsh's voice came through the radio with a completely different tone, cold, professional, and utterly menacing. Mr. Mitchell, you've seen something you weren't supposed to see. Kate, you know the protocols for situations like this. Kate reached under the dashboard and pulled out her service weapon, but instead of pointing it at me, she aimed it at the radio. Elena, can you trace where Walsh is actually calling from? Elena's fingers flew across her laptop while Marcus's video continued playing in the background. GPS shows her signal originating from Catherine Hayes' law office in downtown Denver. She's been coordinating with them this entire time. Through Marcus's recorded footage, we could see him flipping through more documents. There are bank records here showing Walsh has been feeding information to the Torino family for over 2 years. Every FBI raid, every federal investigation, every witness location, she's been selling it all. My burner phone buzzed with a text from Catherine. Agent Walsh tells us you've reached the end of the road, Sam. Literally. Check your mirrors. Kate spun around to look through the rear window. At least 6 vehicles were climbing the mountain highway behind us, their headlights cutting through the darkness like angry stars. They've been herding us into this dead-end route the whole time. Elena pulled up a satellite map on her laptop. We're 15 miles from the nearest town, no cell coverage, and the road dead ends at an abandoned mining facility in 8 miles. Perfect place to eliminate witnesses, Kate muttered, flooring the accelerator again. But they made one mistake. This SUV has satellite uplink capability independent of cellular networks. She flipped a series of switches on the dashboard, and suddenly we could hear multiple voices coming through encrypted federal channels, real FBI agents, not Walsh's corrupted network. This is Deputy Director Harrison, FBI Internal Affairs. All units be advised, Agent Jennifer Walsh is under investigation for corruption and conspiracy. Any communications from her are to be considered compromised. Relief flooded through me so intensely I nearly passed out. Elena, can you upload Marcus's evidence directly to Internal Affairs? Already doing it. Elena's laptop showed massive file transfers in progress. Marcus documented everything, Catherine's payments to Walsh, the Torino family connections, even recordings of Walsh providing classified information during fake briefings. The vehicles behind us were getting closer, but ahead I could see helicopter searchlights sweeping the mountainside. Real federal backup, finally. Kate's radio crackled with Deputy Director Harrison's voice. Mr. Mitchell, this is Harrison. We've been running a parallel investigation into Agent Walsh for 6 months. Your evidence just gave us everything we needed for arrests across 12 states. Through Elena's laptop, we watched Marcus's final video segment. Sam, by the time you see this, federal marshals should be arresting Catherine, Walsh, and 47 other conspirators simultaneously. The Torino family's entire money laundering network is about to collapse. Kate pointed ahead to where the road opened into a wide plateau. There, FBI helicopters, real tactical teams, and those look like federal marshals setting up a perimeter. My phone buzzed with one last text from Catherine's number. You won, Sam. But you have no idea what this is going to cost you. I looked at the message and started laughing, not from humor, but from pure exhaustion and relief. Elena, how much total did we recover? Elena checked the final financial reports Marcus had uploaded. Across all 12 states, $47.3 million in stolen assets, plus another $23 million in Torino family funds that were being laundered through fake business acquisitions. As our SUV rolled into the federal perimeter, surrounded by real FBI agents and legitimate federal marshals, I realized something profound. Marcus destroying that phone in the parking lot hadn't been the end of my evidence. It had been the beginning of exposing the largest organized crime infiltration of federal law enforcement in decades. Sometimes the best thing that can happen to you is having someone try to destroy your life completely. Because when they overreach that badly, they destroy themselves instead. 6 months later, I used my share of the recovered funds to start a new company. This time, I handle all the finances myself.